do you do a forecast? Well, hello, hello, hello. This is your sales director, Natalie Noah Cousins, coming to you live from Queens, New York. And I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to forecast your month. Now, forecast means that you're thinking ahead on what you're going to do, but more than what you're going to do, like the weatherman, you're going to say, well, how we're going to do it. How's it going to happen? How does that visualize? You may not know the exact mechanics, but you will definitely be able to set your mind in the right direction and really grasp how much effort it will take for you to accomplish your goal. So, what do I mean? Well, if you were to forecast, for example, that you're going to have a $500 savings in your bank account by the end of June. That's your forecast, right? So you told, you maybe told your husband, your mom, your best friend, whoever. And you say, I'm going to have $500 savings. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're doing something. So you're going to save 500. So now you have to think about, how am I going to do that? Which pockets, which areas, which segments, where am I going to pull to make that happen? For example, are you going to cut out something? Are you going to, let's say, cut out your Starbucks coffee that costs you $5 for the next 10 weeks? Maybe. Are you going to, um, I don't know, are you going to go to work and stay an extra hour so that you can save that extra hour, over time as part of your money towards your $500 surplus? So you might do a combination because you probably won't do that every day. So you might, between those two things, you're going to say, well, if I get so much from here and so much from there, this is what I'm going to have. So you kind of mentally begin to get a track or a road or a path to follow so that you begin to get the work done. Same idea for your business. This should be done on the last or the first day of the month, every month. What are you going to do this month? And at the beginning of the year, you want to do the same thing. What are we going to do for this year? Where are we going to end up at the end of the year? And how are we going to get there? You want to do it every quarter, the beginning of every quarter. Where do you want to do for the next quarter? This is called forecasting, and it's part of business. They do this all the time, analysts and so on. This is where we're going to end up. But for us, we're going to talk about where we are. So what does that do? That I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. No, I don't want to do. I don't want to share from here. I want to share my screen so that you know. Are you seeing this? I don't know if you're seeing this. Okay. So hopefully you are seeing my screen. Okay. You're seeing my screen. You might have been hearing me talking and not seeing me. So, um, okay, so now I'm showing you this here. We're going to make this a little bigger just so that you can see what we're talking about. So you're going to do a couple of things. Before you get to the actual forecast, you're going to take a clean sheet of paper, and most preferably, you're going to keep it in a book so that you can do every month and you can look back at the month and keep track throughout the month. So you're going to use a notebook that you can sit and think for the month of May. What, because I'm doing this in May, could be any month. For this month, from the first to the end of the month, what are my goals? What are my goals? So you should have a sales goal, a retail goal, a wholesale goal, right? Sales goal, retail goal, a wholesale goal, a team building goal. And when you become a recruiter, when you have someone on your team, your commissions. You could do a forecast for your commissions. You can do a forecast for your team. Okay, so then those two would be optional when you add team. Those would be the other two add-ons when you have a team. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you have a sales goal, you can also determine what your profit is, right? Because we know, or Mary Kay teaches us that we should do a 60-40 split. I know we say 50% is yours, but you want to save 10% of that part that's yours for some of the business expenses that you will encounter. Section 2 orders, maybe registering for events, registering and traveling to events, things like that. That will give you cushion. You're not necessarily spending out of your pocket, or you're not necessarily spending out of something that you already had planned. So that's what the extra 10% is, which you would take from that from your 50% to the company regardless. And the other 40%, you would split it up however you want. 10% probably for 10% of your total, probably for, tithings, charitable giving, donation, and then you'll be left with 30%. You might want to save 10% of that to save for yourself. Pay yourself with that, but save it somewhere. Put it in an IRA, put it in a CD, put it somewhere. But save that. That's what you made. That's money that you had from your business. And then you're left with 20% to pay a bill. Okay. So that's why you got to go bigger. But it's not bad that you have 10% to pay yourself. Okay. Anyway, besides that, so if you have a sales goal, a retail goal, this is what you would call, this is how you would set it up. Sales forecast. And you would then, now this will not allow me. Let's see if I can do it here. So I'm just presenting it, so you're not going to see. But what you would do is you would split the page in half with a T-chart, and you would put parties and facials. Why? Parties and facials is a big chunk of your sales, where your sales come from. Parties and facials are the big, when you have appointments where you are seeing someone in person, this is where you're going to make the biggest bang for your buck. You're going to see people and you're going to sell. Then you also have reorders. When you call up to your customers and you are engaging your customers, this is where they are saying, look, I bought this thing last month, or I finished my cleanser or my moisturizer. Can I have another? And then you may have gift sets are and other. It's just random stuff. Someone just, a website order that you didn't solicit. Someone just, some family member just pops up. Not a facial, not a planned facial or reorder, but some other sale that you had not planned, right? So you put that in there. Now, what does that mean? Right here in this area, you would put the total for your sales goal. So let's say your sales goal for the month of May is $600. That means for 4 weeks, it's $150 per week. I'm lowballing it, making it so that you understand the numbers, makes it easy to calculate. But it's $600 for the month. So you would then put 600 right up here, right? No. Okay, you put $600 right here. Type that in. Now this won't allow me to type it because I'm doing it in presenter view, but you would put that at the top of the page, not on the same line as the party, but the line above. Then parties and facials will say, well, okay, if I do a party or if I do a facial right now, when I do a facial, I usually sell a basic cleanser and moisturizer. That's $60. So you can do everything based on that and say, okay, I get $600 from that. That means I would have to work out 10 appointments, sell 10 of those, right? You start figuring out. But maybe last month you sold something or 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and that person now wants a new moisturizer. So that person may call you and say, hey, I need the moisturizer, it's $34. So you will have maybe 2 or 3 customers who would want to replenish something that they previously purchased, or they're looking for additional things to purchase. They're considered a reorder. And then finally, someone said, hey, I got a birthday and this and that. But you are mentally thinking, how would that work? Biggest portion, maybe 80%, 75, 80% of the sales goal comes from parties and facials, new people, refacialing, whatever. Reorders would be, 15%. And gift sets would be another 10%. This way, or gift sets and other would be 10% because you don't have control. Reorders, you have more control. You can call, you can go by, you can hang out, you can send pictures and texts and this and that and the other. You can generate some interest. But parties and facials, you call in to book. But gift sets and things like that, that's from your advertising, people knowing who you are, that you got Mary Kay, blah, blah, blah. Make sense? So you do that for every item. So if you're doing the forecast for your wholesale goal, you might put on there how you're doing it wholesale. You might put website orders and then personal orders, right? You might put in from the website you want to do, let's say you're doing 600 for the month, you're going to do, and I know that's, I put 600 and 600, but just for the math, we're doing 600 for the month for the wholesale order. All right, let's do $300 for the month for the wholesale order. You might do $100 from your website and you do the other $200 from out of your sales. Okay. So you just want to make sure you're allocating where these things come from. And for those who have a team, the next few minutes I'm going to say are going to be relevant to them. You would do a forecast for what you and your team are going to do. So for senior, this is new information to me. For a senior consultant, you and your team can easily bring in $1,000 if you're paying attention, if you're talking to each other, if you're working together as a team. Bring in $1,000 wholesale. So that would be, as a senior consultant, you would be looking for 1,000. As a team builder, you're going to be looking for 2,000. As a as a team leader, you're going to be looking for 3,000. And as an elite team leader, you're going to be doing 4,000. And that's because you have more people on your team. And it's possible, and we can work out how that would go, but you would do the same thing. Now, it's a little different when you're doing a sales volume for your team because you don't have control. So you don't say, okay, I'm going to get it from Lisa, Jerry, and Michelle. No, you're going to think of how many orders at 1,000, how many orders at 600, how many orders at 350, how many orders at 225. And you work that out, and then other, because now we can have orders at 100, 150, random numbers, but those you can't bank on. Make sense? So you want to make sure that you are looking to the one. So you might put 2 times 225, 1 times 600, plus yourself, plus you. So when you add that all together, whatever that number is, that's the forecast. And then you begin to work on the forecast because you want your brain to wake up to the possibility of what you can do. Doesn't make sense. So I am looking forward. That ended up being a whole hour. That was not my intention, but that's what I wanted to share with you. No, it's not a whole hour. Yeah, it is. It's a whole hour. Okay, so you had that. That's the I'm gonna stop sharing. So yeah, so hopefully that tutorial made sense to you. You were able to understand what I was talking about. You were able to, yeah, you were able to apply it because this is part of your success strategy for your business going forward in the Millionaire Dynasty. So thank you so much for watching. Put thumbs up, put a comment when you watch this video. Thank you so much.